Well, first of all, everyone, thank you for your questions and a happy 2020 New Year. And as I promised, I'm going to answer all of your questions. So there was a lot. Some of you actually asked more questions than I would have, well, not liked, but instead of one, you asked like 10 or 5. And still, I'm going to answer. There was no limit. And since I didn't get too many questions, I'm going to do it just for this. So let's begin with the first question. So BZ just says, Happy holidays, Sensei. Well, happy holidays to you too, BZ, and everyone else in the comment section. Do you speak Japanese? No, but at least I know how to count in just a few basic phrases. So at least I can count my reps. What is your favorite video game? This one's a little bit of a tough one. One thing, I don't really play a lot of games as much as I used to, but if I had to pick my favorite games, most of them ironically would be on the Sega Genesis. So definitely these 4 would be on the list. Revenge of Shinobi, the original, Streets of Rage 1, Contra Hard Corps, and Mortal Kombat 2. As far as the newer stuff, I do like Morrowind, and I played Oblivion. Skyrim was pretty good, but I'll stick to Morrowind and Oblivion. Just the open world and the modifications you can do, it's an amazing game. Very beautiful and fun to play. What was your inspiration for the channel and its theme? Can you provide some insights into the evolution of the channel? Well, that's a good question. Now, the whole channel, it started back when YouTube was a very different place. Around 2010, 2011 was that I actually started the channel. Because I seen friends that would post a lot of videos where they would train and do random stuff. This was the time where you can post random videos. Everyone was kind of new to the thing. It's a little bit different than it is today. Actually, a lot different because YouTube has been changing. But the whole reason I started was just for kicks, just for fun. I had really nothing to do. I wanted to train, maybe pull some cool stuff out as an experiment. And then when I got the comments and people say, hey, this is pretty cool. And I had 100 subscribers around there for almost 2 years. So it takes a while to build up. But still, I was grateful, and I was, seeing even something that small, that this is great. Maybe I can move on and do stuff like that. Where I wanted to incorporate maybe some nutrition and some things I knew how to use. That way I can share. And then it kind of moved on, and I said, hey, this is great potential. It's a great, in a way, like a vehicle to help motivate people or to share my ideas with them. So I've been using the resource like that. Even though channel did take a little dip because I've been taking breaks here and there because of life, but I'm still going with the channel. So it definitely has evolved. If you want, you can go through my older videos, a little bit cringy and a lot worse quality. But the information's there and the heart's there. So that's what I'm trying to bring back. Hopefully this year I can bring the vibe back and bring a whole lot of other content. But it's just difficult when a lot of stuff goes on. So a lot of things, they drag you away from the channel. It's just hard to put in the effort as it was. When YouTube was a different place, it was a lot easier. Now it feels way too commercialized, and you got big corporations kind of pushing down on the small creators. And it kind of loses the heart, and it's hard to prosper. These small channels, kind of like myself, it's hard for them to kind of grow and move out. Unless you're doing something specifically or in a certain way now. So it's sad, but hey, we're still kicking, we're still alive. Next question. Have you tried out the ninja hand and foot tree climbing spikes? The Shuko and the Ashiko, I believe. Now, yes, I did actually wanted to do a video on that before. I just never got a chance to actually do it or have the tools. But it's definitely something I want to try. So it would be fun, put it as a test, see if I can climb a tree, how well they work. Maybe even do like a little bit of a tutorial video or a thing. But so far, I don't have it. No plans directly yet, but definitely it's something I do want to do. One day at least. If you have one, what is your spiritual practice? So for me, it would be Orthodoxy, or more specifically, Eastern Orthodoxy. And I try to live more of a monk style of lifestyle, where I try to keep things very simple, including my food and the way I meditate and pray. But if I follow anyone, it would be Jesus Christ as my role model and someone I look forward or look up to for guidance and to perfect. But mainly it revolves around love, because without love, you basically have nothing. So if you pursue love, you'll always be on the right path, but it has to be genuine. True love requires sacrifice, or more specifically, it requires self-sacrifice and also compassion. So if you have those two, I think you're on the right path. So all of us, whatever our beliefs, I think the one thing we can all agree on is to love a little more and be more compassionate. That's going to forge us, and then hopefully we'll all see the light. I know that walking slowly like a ninja can make you travel quietly, but is it possible to move fast and quickly too? And if so, how? Okay, very good question. Well, like most things, if you want to move fast and quiet, or do anything fast and well, you have to do them slow first. You go slow and then you build up, because to be honest, when you're sneaking, you're going slow. So if you keep practicing going slow, you'll get faster and faster. You get a good feel with the leg work and everything else. Like anything is just practice and practice. So speed starts slow and builds up. That's the only way to go. But generally, to be quiet, I guess the only other way I can say it's a lot of footwork and moving around consistently without making a lot of noise. So you have to be very aware how much noise you're making and how your body is moving and your surroundings. If you don't want to bump into something and stuff falls over, it's pointless. You might as well just run through. So things to consider. And if you want to go a little more in depth, of course, use your surroundings such as rain or the woods or animals to help you out. Don't just rely, I'm going in, this is stealth, that's all I'm doing. Rely on other things, because it's not just you and that, it's the environment around it. The environment can break you down, expose you, break you apart, whatever, or it can help you, conceal you, and so much other things. So you have to be part of the environment. So in a stereotypical way, be one with the environment. And work from going fast or going slow to going fast. That's my tip. I've been following you on YouTube and Instagram for a few years. I remember initially my videos were about how to train the body, like mine, both physically and mentally, for all kinds of people. Now the question is, are you considering doing those kinds of videos again? And the second part of it is, what about the movie I've been working on? So first I'll begin by saying, yes, I'm definitely going to do a lot more of those videos, and I want to tap more into the philosophy aspect, which I like. But you see, the way my videos work is, since I have so many different categories, it's hard to balance it all out, because I can't just upload every single day as much as I used to. So it's hard. I have to pick. So what tends to happen is I stick to a topic. Either I go training, and then all my videos revolve training, or I go to nutrition, and then I tend to do nutrition. It's not I do nutrition and that. It comes a little chaotic, but definitely I'm going to do a lot more mind videos. It just, maybe I might even rebrand my whole channel and change it up, because having too many categories makes it a lot more difficult and a little bit disorganized, ironically, even though I try to make it organized. Now, your second question was about the movie, and to me, it's definitely a tough one. But it's something I have been working on probably since it started. The reason is, a lot of times, both my weight and the training, they tend to go back and forth due to life, or depression, other things that come into life. It makes it difficult. But all those things aside, I keep pushing. The problem is, a lot of times when I work, the camera tended to die, and now the program I would be editing with either got an update or something, so the files are incompatible. So I either have to redo a lot of things, put it together. Now it doesn't work, so it's a lot of trial and error going back. But I think in the long run, it helps the movie, because it kind of forces me to get more creative and go around. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time. I really wanted to release this movie a long time ago, guys. Believe it. It bothers me more probably than you. I really wanted to get this movie out. It's just very difficult, but I feel this is the year to do it, because I'm very close. I just have to keep pushing and get it through. Once I finish this big element, the rest of it will be easy. Even if I have to work 24/7 a day, like, it's a lot of work. I already invested a lot of time, and I'm still going to keep going. So the reason I'm saying I don't want to release, I don't want to put the trailer and then, hey, you guys have to wait and kill the hype. I want to actually build it up and put it out when it's ready. Like I said, I'm not going to do any more information or trailers till the movie is ready to go. So when you see the trailer, that's when the movie is ready officially. And then soon to be announcement for the full movie. But you definitely will enjoy the movie. Definitely. If you like my videos this far, I feel exceeds them. So you'll definitely enjoy the movie. Have you learned Bujikan Ninjutsu from Sake Hatsumi Masaki? And what advice can you give to a person who wants to start, where to start, and can you give us a training program? So, very good question. Now, first of all, no, I have not trained with anyone, especially in ninjutsu. So, all my training is basically self-taught. Either I go through books, sometimes there is influence from movies, but a lot of time it's mostly experimental. Because you gotta understand, ninjutsu a lot of times is mental toughness. It's kind of going deep into your mind and doing it yourself. Figuring out things for yourself. So I feel it is good if you can find a community ninjutsu related that does the same thing, but true ninjutsu, I feel, is when you go out by yourself into the wilderness, or you find ways to train that works for you, because realistically, you know yourself best if you actually dive deep and find out, rather than someone telling you. They can point you to the direction, but in order to really get the grasp, you have to do it yourself. So I think self-development is key. Regardless, you don't even have to do ninjutsu to do ninjutsu. You can study local crops, for example, to survive. The basic point is to survive and endure. The whole nin element is endurance and perseverance. So if you got that, I feel you're doing ninjutsu, whatever you're doing. So that's my take on that. What are my thoughts on other ninjas like Oshiro Kim, Chosen Ninja, and Frank Dux? That's a good question. Now, first saying Chosen Ninja was a person I really liked on YouTube. There was another fellow ninja, you would say, that did provide a lot of tips, and a lot of his things were very interesting and useful, I would say. I was very impressed by his skills. Regardless what people say, I think he did a good job, and he taught a lot of things for free. Now, of course, I haven't met any of these people personally, so it's hard to say, but based on what I say, it was good. And unfortunately, I had the news that he might have passed away from cancer. And basically, when I went to his Facebook, page, it did seem like in memory, so either it's some kind of cruel joke or something else, or maybe he did pass away, because he did stop making videos. You know, I assume there's a lot of stress that comes when you get a lot of questions and people just smacking you on the head. You just want to go off, go somewhere else, live your own life, live it off. So that's what I was hoping, but then other people saying he passed away. I'm not sure. According to your speculation, I haven't seen any evidence. But hopefully you're alive, and if not, you will greatly be missed. Now, in terms of the other people like Oshiro Kim, well, based on what I've seen, I don't know how credible they are. Because you see, there's this one video, we can put it right here, where you're dodging bullets, and clearly that's, come on. It's not going to happen with the sound effects and everything. I mean, it's fun to, mess around with. A lot of this, it's not going to work in real life. Point and simple, it's just not reality. It's either a magic trick, or you have the hoop. Now, I don't like to, point out and say this person's wrong, this person's doing that. What I like to say is do your own always thinking. Whoever you're following, even my channel, don't just say, I told you this, take that as, that as a fact. Everything I say with a grain of salt, because a lot of things I do know, but a lot of things I don't know, even myself, when I study. So the thing is, I'm always critical and in very ways, very, analytical about everything from people. I want to get to the truth and I want to know. So a lot of times something seems off, it probably is, but I like to give people the shadow of doubt. And no matter what, we can learn from everyone. Any person, no matter what, even all their information is either fake or everyone says they're fake, they can always teach you at least something. So, everyone has value, and I think that's where we should focus. We can talk about all their negatives, but they'll point themselves out, because the truth is the truth and it gets out. But we can also look for the good. There's this quote, anyone can find dirt in anyone. But truly, the true riches is if you can find the gold in someone. And that's what I think we should look. Regardless, always go for the good. If we keep focusing on the negatives in each other, we're just going to be fighting constantly. No one's going to learn anything. Maybe except how to avoid a ER room or something like that. Happy holidays. What is the weirdest thing that happened to you when you were filming a video in your ninja outfit? Well, happy holidays to you too. Now, the weirdest story would be when I was training up into the mountain. There was a mountain area, and I ran into a hiker while I was training. Of course, it was a little bit cautious, but I offered him some water. And he said, whoa, what are you doing? I was like, the last thing I would expect climbing up high is to find a ninja on top of the mountain training. So it was an interesting story. Of course, we took a little selfie. I kind of told him about maybe a little bit of the channel, what I do, some training. So he really liked it. I don't know what happened. Maybe if you see my video or somewhere else. Well, I wish you all the best. But it was just a very interesting experience. So it's a good thing people are at least up there on the mountain doing some hiking, getting their fitness in. So respect for that. Merry Christmas. I would like to know a day of routine is like for you, if you don't mind me asking. Well, Merry Christmas. Yes, I mean, basically my routine is very simple. It's nothing too special. It's basically almost how everyone is. I'm not that special in terms of I'm a ordinary person. I kind of do this as a YouTube thing, and time to time I train. I don't always train with a Shinobi Shujitsu or Shizuki, I should say, or a ninja costume. But basically I would wake up on ideal days. Usually I would fast, then I'll go on a morning run, followed by doing a lot of chores at home, sometime work, or if I go to college, things like that. Then later on, lift some weights, do something, at least something physically active. Then I'll have my main meal, drink some tea. And unfortunately, a lot of times I might tend to stay up later than I like to, wake up late or not get enough hours. But when I can, that's the ideal day. Do a little bit of morning cardio, something physically active in terms of either weightlifting. Then I would have my meal. Maybe later go for another run outside in the evening before I sleep. That tends to help, and like that. But basically, it's a very simple daily routine. And it does fluctuate, but I am trying to stay more consistent. And that's something we all should do, stay more consistent. How do you build a warrior spirit to keep fighting? Well, basically, you don't give up. You just keep doing repetitions. Repetitions become habit, and habit becomes discipline. That's the simplest way to put it. How do you build the anger to defend or to attack an aggressor? Well, the way I see it is anger can be like a poison. In terms, you hold on to it, and at the same time, it makes you weak because it makes you blind. It's like a drunkenness. When you're angry, or there's this quote saying, the best fighter is never angry. Because when you're angry, you tend to make foolish mistakes. Or the best way is try to avoid the fight, or even better, the highest I would say martial arts, or whatever you do, is try to make your enemy your friend, or at least it should never get to a conflict. Ironically as it sounds, if it gets to a conflict, you kind of failed as a martial artist. Because the goal is to kind of tone it down, make sure it never gets physical, and it's the last resort if there's no other way, and if your life's on the line or your friends, well, you got to do what you got to do. What is the best workout method to stretch your legs for high kicks? Well, you kind of answered it right there. First one is doing high kicks. Just keep doing a lot of kicks and then do the splits. But more specifically, don't just do one type of split. Do the straddle split, do the side split, anywhere you can. Any way your leg can move, try to mix it out. The best way, or at least how I got flexible, is instead of sticking to one method, I just try, let's see, this kind of, I can't really stretch this way. Let me try this way. This is easier, and then I slowly kind of work in, and that's how it works. So like anything, is experimental. Just experiment how your body moves. You'll find some are easier, some are harder stretches. And just keep doing them over and over, and that's how you get flexible. So, how do you train the warrior spirit? Now, like I said in the previous question, is you got to go with repetition, but to really get the spirit in, you have to go all in it, literally with the spirit. So you dive deep, and you go into your heart. And then once you're there, you got to put some emotional content. So, when you're training, don't just think, well, I'm doing reps. You got to visualize what the hell you're doing this all for. So, let's say when you're training, it's very easy to punch a bag and say, well, I just get in the workout, it's hard. But I imagine that if that bag was someone who was trying to attack your family, or, someone trying to destroy you, or something very evil and you want to do something against it, you're going to go the extra mile. Or sometimes injustices in the world is another motivation thing. You want to actually do and change something. You want to try and make a world a better place. Now, of course, not with aggressive, or maybe in this sense, you use the aggression in a productive way instead of, breaking stuff. Put it into your training. That's how you get a little bit of that warrior spirit. That's how you light the flame. You got the fuse. You're full of, let's say, you're full of oil. Where you just need that little spark. Once you get the spark and you ignite it, don't blow out the fan. Don't cover it. Keep it going. It's going to keep burning, and that's how you progress. And if you can maintain it, there's your warrior spirit. Of course, life is going to try to blow that away. Try to take that away from you. But the strongest, if you can withstand the winds of life and trials and tribulations and all that, then you can get through. So that's when the true warrior spirit is tested. How do you separate being a ninja and your daily life? If you do that, that is. So, very good question. Now, simply like I said, I'm a pretty average person aside maybe from this, and I can do a few splits. Nothing too special. But the way I transition is, I do my own thing, but I try to keep myself mentally as a ninja, in a way to say so. Mentally, I'm finished shinobi everywhere I go, even though I might not look like it. And of course, the disguise, or this kind of look, I mostly do it for aesthetics for the channel, and of course, there are some philosophical elements. Such when you wear a mask, it's kind of like humility. So more of it's an artistic expression. Of course, this isn't practical even as a ninja standard, because black, it hangs out, you want colors, and first of all, if you really want to conceal yourself, I wouldn't be making videos, and you would blend in as much as possible. The real ninja is the most generic person you can think of. You would never even expect him to be anything. So you don't really separate it in a way. You do your own thing. When I'm on YouTube, I do another thing, and then I train. But mentally, I keep them together. What truly encouraged you to take on the training of a ninja? Inspired or dream? So I think a lot of influences, though, from movies and video games definitely had, at least from the aesthetic point of view. If you played Mortal Kombat or all that things, it was just this cool kind of character with a mask. You know, it's very mysterious, kind of like Batman. You know, it has that appeal to it. But I took it a lot further. You know, seeing martial art is kind of, you train the body. It's very different where you lift certain amounts of reps. You just keep going all at it, and you push yourself to new limits. Like, for example, we can look at Shaolin monks as another way. Or general martial arts where you push the human body to new limitations or exceeding those limitations. So that combined, but also the way I personally took it, maybe in my own kind of direction or my own path, where I saw ninjutsu as a symbol of basically the ninja spirit, as perseverance, but also as humility. Because when you put on a mask for such as this, for example, you're not really even being yourself. You're kind of concealed. So when you look at yourself, you're not you. You're kind of the spirit of perseverance, and you go on through. It's not about you. It's about getting to the objective, getting the goal done. And I think that's kind of what inspired me. But basically what encouraged me was as a symbol of humility and perseverance. And that's something I look forward to. When I put the costume on, it also reinforces it, and that's why I like the aesthetic look of it. So it's not just for looks, it has that whole philosophy. Okay, there's a lot of questions here. So first, what kind of music do you like to listen to? So this is a very good question. Now, I would say my tastes vary, and some people might be surprising. Well, I like things all the way from silence to ambient music or meditation, all the way to black metal and death metal. So very soft to very hard styles and things in between. But generally, I would like, if I had some bands to personally I would recommend or I would like Crimson Moonlight for one.
What's beauty and nothing but gold? What I found beautiful, what is just noisy wind?
Scientifica. A Hill to Die On.
I am the black space between the stars. I am the darkness that can be felt. I am the black space between the stars. I am the darkness that can be felt.
Those would be my top favorite bands from the heavier side. From the lighter side, I like Himikami and Hitaru, if I can pronounce it right. Even a bit of Yanni, because you know, the music and aesthetic, I just like to mix with both. It depends how I feel. If I'm going more of a relaxing kind of day doing work, I might go on the softer side. If I'm training or doing other things such as running, I'll go on a darker and more heavier element. But sometimes the best sound is just silence completely, so you can relax. Are there any books on philosophy or spirituality that you would recommend? So what I would say for that is I like a lot of works by C.S. Lewis and also the writings of the Desert Fathers. What are your favorite video games? Well, I already answered that in the previous question, but since I don't play games, I like a lot of old school games. Especially when you just plug and play, just play for a little bit to get the mind off or just train a little bit. I'm not really big fans of games where you get too highly invested and go off. What are some of your favorite movies? Well, that's a hard one. Just a lot of movies, definitely. But I would say if I had to pick one, at least the one that comes off the top of my head would be Revenge of the Ninja with Shokusugi. That was definitely one of my favorite movies. Especially just all the action scenes leading up to that epic rooftop battle. I thought it was cool. It has that whole element of practical effects, but it was just amazing. What is your stance on Bruce Lee or other warrior poets? Personally, I think Bruce Lee is one of the most influential, not even martial artists, but people that ever existed. He's a once-in-a-lifetime person, definitely to say. Thanks to him, a lot of martial arts basically got popularized or introduced to the public. So I feel if it wasn't for him, it would have kind of stayed. It would have never moved out to the West. But not just that, his philosophies, like, I mean, wow. Be water, I mean, it's very profound words. You can go on, but I feel he influenced everything from movies that we watch today to the martial arts we practice and so on. One thing you can say, he influenced all of us. Influenced me, maybe indirectly or directly, but definitely it's someone you look up to and you just push the limit. But regardless of that, when you just look at some of his feats, it's another level. We're all here, he's up here. So, if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z, it's kind of like the human version of Goku. It's close as I can get or anyone else. So it's a shame that he's not with us no more, but as we can all see, he definitely lives on in each one of us. Anyone who's a martial artist, so definitely appreciate, his input. I think he definitely helped make the world a better place. So martial arts wouldn't be where it is today without Bruce Lee. Let's put it that way. In your previous video, you mentioned you used to drink often, but no longer partake. Is there a longer story for that? And yes, good question. Now, during one of my younger years, I actually did drink. Of course, I wasn't a heavy drinker, but I would drink time to time here and there. And I decided to completely quit and just go sober. I think it's been close to 6 years now since I haven't even drank anything. I'm not even talking just a little sip. I mean, completely nothing sober. The main reason is I feel it's stupid. Personally, to me, it doesn't serve any value. Makes you fatter for once, and it costs a lot of money. And a little bit off note, but personally, I think when we drink around New Year's Eve, let's just say, if you have a drink here and there, that's fine. But a lot of times, if you lose that control, especially on New Year's, let's just put it for this year since it happened. People, they drink a lot till New Year's if they get drunk, and then they start their New Year or New Year resolution, hangover, puking in the toilet or something. And I feel it's stupid. Waste money and stuff. So personally, I wouldn't drink. If you have a beer, it's your own thing. Personally, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even drink a little bit. Any weight loss advice that you haven't covered in a previous video? So that's a good question, because it's kind of hard to say what I haven't covered. Of course, you can't cover anything. There's always new information, new methods. But if one thing I can say that stayed true throughout all the years, it doesn't really change, is it matters more if you want to lose weight to focus on nutrition rather than cardio and working out. Now, the trick is here, they both have to work together, because nutrition is what actually leads to weight loss. Is the calories that you consume less of, you're going to lose the weight. The problem is working out helps your mind. So when you run, you work out, your mind is in a better place to maintain a diet. So instead of eating a donut, you eat some kale, you eat an apple, you eat more healthier foods. Versus when you don't, you just rely strictly on diet. It's very easy to tempt you, become lazy. Because they're all connected. The brain and the body, they're not single, it's all one unit. So by running, you keep discipline, combine it with diet, which you eat properly. This helps you stay on your diet, and this helps your body put together. And when those combine together, that's what causes weight loss. Have you read the Bensen Shuki or the Shininki? Yes, I did read, but I read the Shininki, and I actually have the book here, you can see, by Anthony Cummins' True Path of the Ninja, which is basically a translation of the Shininki. And I found it's a very, very cool book. So definitely, I think anyone who's interested in ninjutsu or learning about the ninja will have fun with this. What I like is it taps into the ninja psychology and also how they work as a unit. So, and even ninja, it's not ninjas, it's plural, where it's ninja can mean one or it can mean multiple. And how it works is everyone works as a unit. There's no pride at all. It's total humility to continue working where you can. I'm not doing this dirty job. I'm not sitting in the store where you get to be somewhere else. Everyone works as one unit. It doesn't matter what job you get. Everyone focuses with one mind on a task and gets it done. Good luck with that. But basically, that's what it kind of trains. You want to be successful sometime, you got to work together or on your own. So I thought that was definitely a very cool thing they tapped into in the book. But it also talks about different survival. Like if you're walking on soil, for example, you can test if it's trodden based on the salt content. So of course you pick up, you get a little taste. If it's too salty, usually that road is walked based on the sweat and other things. Of course, not so practical today because most people don't walk. Barefoot, of course, they do sweat, but it's just a lot harder and unnecessary. But it is cool to kind of look back into the past and use some elements, especially on the psychological levels. There's a lot of cool stuff. How to help a friend with depression while having depression. So, very good question, and of course, depression is something I battle with as well. So it comes and goes. Sometimes it stays longer than I would like. It way overstays its welcome, and it makes life hard. It's very debilitating. But when I can, I try to, ironically, see when you're trying to help someone, it kind of takes you out of depression, or at least it puts you in a different mindset, helps you out. So when I'm training and I see I can help someone else, it definitely encouraged me, because you see a lot with depression, we feel we're useless and hopeless. But when you can provide at least some kind of value, or you can offer a hand, it doesn't matter what you do, literally. If you see someone's down, you pick up, you give them a hand, it's nothing. Or you have extra food or something, you give it to someone who doesn't. You have value. I mean, literally, if you don't have any money, you can give someone attention. Things like that nature. Of course, it is hard, because when you have depression, you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want to do anything. Everything you do becomes very, how to say, boring, meaningless. It's very hard. Things you like to do, you don't do them. It's very difficult. A lot of times I just bear the storm and go in. A lot of times if I'm having a really bad day, I'll just stay in bed and sleep it off as much as I can. And then get up, just do some music, walk around randomly in circles. Like I said, main thing is move your body. It doesn't matter what you do. You can randomly just move stuff around. As long as you get your body moving, it does something mentally. So don't focus, I need to run or do something. Just getting up, mindless movement helps, get the ball rolling, gets you up and moving. Once you're up and moving, you can do something, you can help someone. So hopefully, that can help. That's what kind of helps me get out of a lot of ways. Or if you're really bad, you can even say, well, it isn't supposed to be a depression type video of help, but this can help. And what I do is a little bit of a mental trick. When you're having a really tough day, like you can't get out of it, just hold your breath and don't breathe at all. So you're like, and what you're going to realize is when you run out of air, everything else doesn't matter. You can start to realize how much you want that breath. And it kind of reevaluates that you do want to actually live. So it's a little bit of a weird thing where you don't get any oxygen. Almost, well, I wouldn't say self-harming, but self-realization. Because it kind of puts everything else. When you have problems, just breathing is like this almost mystical kind of exercise where it puts all your problems on the side. You start seeing the true picture. Hopefully, I think this can help you out. Tell us about your life and obesity and how you overcame it. What is your motivation behind the success? So in my teen years, I was pretty obese, where I got up to my highest point of 315 pounds. A lot of times we won't change until something bothers us that we don't have any other option. Like let's say you're going to end up in the hospital or in a grave. Hopefully not, but it's a reality. So when you really realize that what you're missing out and you see you're not enjoying life, you can't move your body the way it's supposed to, you want to do something about it. So that encourages and moves you to at least move in that direction. And you start focusing. And once you have that, you're driven. You're not motivated. You're driven to keep going, and you're pounding over and over until you get it. It's almost like you battle yourself, which is actually not the thing. It's what it actually is. It's you versus you. So I have to decide what life do I want, and that kind of drove the whole motivation, where I just kept going and I kept training. And just went all out. Back in those days, I used to train 3 to 4 hours a day. So it just went all. Maybe I had more energy, maybe I was younger, but I didn't follow any routine. Good or bad, but hey, it helped me lose weight. I stick to being a whole plant-based nutrition is what I'm going with right now. And I try to eat the same thing every day, and that helps me keep in schedule. Of course, if I overconsume calories, I'm not consistent, I don't work out, I can gain weight, but the thing is, I don't gain it enough where I go way off the chart and then have to take a long time to lose weight. I go back and forth time to time, but if I stay consistent, I can definitely get it. And of course, depression does not help that at all. That's a lot of time what hinders it, but less excuses aside, you just got to keep going. If I have more focus, which I am trying to work on, and I have the consistency, I think I will accomplish a lot of things. Well, that's the end of the questions. So thank you very much for asking them. I hope I was able to answer. You learned a little bit more about me, or in some ways learned something that can help you, as always, to improve your life. So if you did find it useful, you learned something, leave a like and share the video. And more better, if you're new, be sure to subscribe, because I'll have a whole lot of cooler stuff coming right up. Just gotta stay with that consistency, make videos. But I definitely have some cool stuff coming up. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.